Laura Bennett is back. And today, Laura will be speaking about healing from the heart. Interesting. Can't wait to hear that. I love this bio. She's a third generation Unity minister. It's in the family. 3 Unity churches, and worked as a chairperson of Biblical Studies for the faculty at the ministerial and adult education program of Unity worldwide. And she is the author of The Language of God, Metagetics in Bible. But I also read too, Laura, that it says that you write poetry and music. I didn't know that until I want to hear about the music when we're done at Coffee Talk.
Okay.
Anyway, everybody, Laura's back. Take it away.
All right. Yay. And it's so good to see each of you too. And I just love being with this wonderful group. I think what you do is so fabulous that, you do it with volunteers, and just your whole structure, your whole system is a role model for what so many people in our world can do with gathering and spiritual groups. And I really love that about this group. And I love your universality, that, and openness. Growing up in Unity, you can see I'm wearing my, we're going to the Pride Festival later, Larry and I. And I love everything. I love to embrace everything there is to embrace in a given month. This month we have, happy Pride Month, and happy Father's Day, happy Flag Day, happy Solstice, and is it the yes, it is the solstice. It's the summer solstice. And there's one more. There's even an Islamic feast this month. And usually those festivals last about 3 days in Islam when they celebrate them. And it's the festival of life and of sacrifice, and it honors the moment that Abraham was stopped from sacrificing Isaac, and was provided for in another way. So there's just all kinds of wonderful special days this month. I'm going to do a little plug. I often write about them on the front page of my website. Here's this month, and here are the holidays this month, and here's what each of them means. But I just love that kind of taking everything in. Today, we are working from the heart, and I apologize. I shifted the focus a little bit on you, but it all comes from the heart. And we're talking also about something I may have talked with you about before, but not quite in the way we're doing today. We're talking about the metaphor of the tree of life today. And I want to start off by just asking you to just unmute and jump in and just say a favorite tree of yours, that either in your memory or and no long description, just quick phrase. And I'll start by giving you an example. For me, it was the willow tree in the backyard over the creek that I used to climb up in and just sit quietly when I wanted to be alone as a child. So like that, okay? It might be a Christmas tree, it might be an oak tree, whatever it is. Just what was your favorite tree? What's been a favorite tree for you?
Walnut.
What's that?
A walnut tree that was in my backyard.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. There was a huge persimmon tree in our front yard that my mother had me paint often, and it died the same year she died, and it is now our kitchen countertop.
Oh,
so it lives on.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. That gets me. Man, that's wonderful. Okay. Who else? Favorite tree?
Banyan tree.
Wow. Where did you grow up? Or
Not
where do you
anywhere near
live?
there.
But you love, yes, those
But I love
banyan
it, yeah, and the way that takes root in different ways. Anyway, banyan tree.
I
beautiful.
love so many, but I also love the Kindle tree on the Kindle app with a little boy sitting underneath it.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, there's, every living thing is filled with this life, including us. In Clara Palmer, she's an old, from way back, Unity metaphysician, and she wrote a book called You Can Be Healed. It's sort of a predecessor to Louise Hay, and she likened the spinal column and the nerves and the energy that goes out from there to a tree of life that resides in each of us. And so many trees there have been a number of trees around the world in different cultures that have come to be known as the tree of life. And I'm going to share a couple of them with you. Kyle, you can put those images up now, just very quickly. This is the Shajarat al-Hayat in Bahrain. And Larry and I not only went to visit there ourselves when we lived in Bahrain, but we also took my uncle when he came to visit us there. This is the most visited tourist site in Bahrain. You can see the size of the tree by the people under it. You can see a couple of people there under the tree. This is a mesquite tree. Mesquites are not supposed to get that big. They don't get very big. They don't live much past 125 years. They live in desert climates. And they live in desert climates because they have a very deep taproot. This tree lives, the amazing thing about this tree is it lives where no other living thing is. It's completely desert and sand and rock for miles and miles around this tree. And yet this little tree has survived going on 500 years now. And it was, like I say, mesquites are not supposed to live much past 125 years. So it also is in Bahrain, and Bahrain was considered a center of the Mesopotamian culture, of the Dilmun culture way back when, and is part of the roots of where our creation stories come from, including the Garden of Eden. So the people of the Arab world consider this to be the point of the Garden of Eden, and this to be the tree of life, which is really kind of cool. So this is the Bahrain tree of life. Let me show you another tree of life. Here we go. This is the Pahotakawa tree in New Zealand. This is a tree of the Maui culture. It is where one of the gods fell to earth, and became mortal. And this was, the red blossoms are supposed to represent his blood as he became mortal. And it's also a sacred tree in the northern part of New Zealand. And it's their Christmas tree, because it only blooms like this, like what you see now, at Christmas time, which is really kind of cool. And also the Pahotakawa tree, because it came from the gods, has healing properties. So the bark of the tree and the sap of the tree are used for medicinal purposes, still are for people today. It actually calms anxiety and actually helps people heal from things. It has been known to help people heal from things like pneumonia and internal disease or dysfunction. And so they just call it the New Zealand tree of life. So it's amazing what nature gives us through these gifts all around us. Not unlike the story in Genesis. But what happens in Genesis was very interesting. Adam and Eve were barred from the tree because they took on the other fruit from the other tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And they started thinking, now here's the thing. they started thinking dualistically. They started thinking like, this is good, this is evil, this is right, this is wrong. That, you know, they started thinking in terms of separation, and as the myth goes, as the story goes, and were kept from the tree of life. Or as a friend of mine said in one of his talks, they were banned from the Garden of Eden because they saw each other naked and they didn't laugh. In other words, they took themselves too seriously. And this is what that dualistic thinking can do to us. It can weigh us down. It can worry us. It can contract us. It can have us afraid and even hateful of other people and other things. So when we find our way back, when we become bigger than the polar or than the duality of life, when we become bigger than the duality of life, and the duality is necessary. Duality and dualistic thinking are two distinct things. Duality presents a polarity that allows life to be, and we've turned it into, you know, the separation thing. So to find our way back to the tree of life is to get that consciousness of oneness. And what is the name of your center? The Center for Universal Oneness. Okay, so if you move on, we can get how that tree has shown up in world scripture. I'm just going to use two examples today. There's some in the East too, some in the Orient, but I'm going to use this from the Quran. And let's see, I'm going to move this over. And it says, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The likeness of his light is a niche wherein a lamp, the lamp is a glass, the glass, as it were, is a glittering star, kindled from a blessed tree. This is a reference to us. We're the glass shining the light of Allah, and we are kindled from the blessed tree, the tree of life. And all of that is neither of the east nor the west, whose oil well nigh would shine, even if no fire touched it. So we are filled with a fluidity, a spirit that shines even without being kindled. Light upon light. Allah guides to his light whom he wills, and Allah is knowing of all things. So that inner universal spirit that is referred to in Islam as Allah is, I just blew a spider off my computer. I'm attracting all kinds of life here. Anyway, that inner universal spirit, Allah, 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 is attracted, I mean, is the light. It's the essence of our being, and it draws us to itself through knowledge, and knowledge is spiritual knowledge. It's awareness of who we are. It's not accumulated intellect. It's knowing who you are. As it says in the Gospels, you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. You may hear my cat who wants to play right now in the background, just in case you hear her crying in the background. Okay. So the tree of life shows up in 3 books of the Bible. So let's look at that. All right. First, from the garden, the tree of life in the garden. Out of the ground, the Lord made grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So the tree of life is the very center of the Edenic consciousness, of the full awareness, where there's nothing but God, nothing but God. Now, what I said what I used to teach in my classes to metaphysically understand the Bible is that we evolved. The reason our consciousness moved out of the Edenic state is because we had to be given birth. We had to move from knowing nothing but God to knowing God in and as all things. And that's what life is about. It's that evolution, knowing nothing but God to knowing God in and as all things. And we may have to go through that dualistic thinking, to get to the point where we start to recognize we are greater than all the polarities. We are greater than everything that happens in life. And we can be bigger than all of it. Okay, now this is the evolution through the Bible of the tree of life. First, we understand that we have some kind of innate wisdom in us, some kind of deep understanding of what life really is. And that's our next slide. The tree of life and wisdom. And by the way, wisdom in the book of Proverbs is a woman. It's female. Does anybody know what the Greek name for that feminine energy is in Proverbs? The female name that means wisdom. I'll give you a hint. There is a great mosque in Istanbul named after it. And my cat too, by the way. It's Sophia. Sophia is the Greek name for wisdom. And it is a feminine energy because it is creative. Wisdom moves. Wisdom is what moves things from being just nice ideas, nice concepts, nice, ideas of what spirit is, to the reality of life, to the manifest, physical, tangible reality of life. It is wisdom that crosses that border from just knowing and having the insight to actually realizing it in life. So wisdom is a tree of life to those who lay hold of her. Those who hold her fast are called happy. So when you're able not just to know the truth, but to be the truth in action, that's where your satisfaction comes from. Not from accumulation of anything, not from accumulation of knowledge, not from accumulation of things, but when you know the truth and you are being the truth right here and right now. That's happiness. Okay. And our next slide. And finally, it shows up, the tree of life shows up in Revelation. Now, this is the New Revised Standard Version translation that says, "To everyone who conquers, I will give permission to eat from the tree of life that is in the paradise of God." In other words, the tree of life is all yours. All of its fruit, all of its life-giving power is all of yours when you conquer. Now, NRSV, New Revised Standard Version, says conquer. But I like the original King James Version, and they all, both mean the same thing, overcome. To the one who overcomes, I will give to eat of the fruit of the tree of life. And overcome, again, means to rise higher than the circumstance. It doesn't mean to belittle the circumstance. It doesn't mean to destroy. It doesn't mean to fight. It means to transcend, to rise higher than the circumstance, to see the whole picture of what is happening in life. And to know that life is a gift. Life is a gift. It may not feel like a gift at times, but what is happening in the midst of even the most challenging conditions is we are learning how to drink in more of that nectar. We are learning how to express more of that light. And now to the simple, that was all of the worldly scriptural background of what we're looking at today. Now to the simple wisdom of it. And we'll go to the next slide. You are the tree of life. That's the bottom line. You're it. You just, all there is to having access to the tree of life is recognizing it's already in us. It already is us. It's the essence of our own being. It's that divine energy that flows up and down the center of our being and throughout every part of our body and our being. Okay, so we're going to look at like the deep root of the mesquite tree. And the reason that mesquite tree has been able to live, Bahrain, literally means two waters. And it refers to the water that surrounds it, which we know as the Persian Gulf. But it's called the Gulf of Arabia in Bahrain. But it refers to the salt water around it and to the fresh water that runs underneath it. It's an island in the Gulf, and it has a freshwater spring. It has freshwater springs underneath that run beneath the island. And this mesquite tree somehow managed to extend its root deep enough to tap into that water source. So, like the deep root, take time to tap into the source of all life within you. And how do we do that? It's meditation. Take time and just being. They're all forms of meditation. There's a meditation where you go deep within and you let yourself anchor in the heart, in the core of your being. Or there's the meditation where you're just sitting. That's part of what vacations are for. You're just sitting in a beautiful place and taking it in. Take time to tap into the source of all life. Like the trunk, recognize that the hardships of life have only grown and strengthened you so that you can and do stand up to even the harshest conditions. In our front yard, we have a huge oak tree with a large trunk. And that trunk was built and strengthened over the years of Kansas weather. And I unless it's pulled up by the roots, I don't think that oak tree is ever going to fall apart because it is just so large and it shades the whole front yard. Just one tree. And it's not a big front yard, but it's not a small one either. It shades the whole front yard and the driveway. This weekend we had a neighborhood garage sale, and a lot of people would have to close up their garage sales early because of the sun. The sun was just too intense for them. But our tree kept our garage sale going with its wonderful, wonderful shade. Okay, but the trunk of that tree has been strengthened by the weather conditions, just as the trunks of the trees in the Northwest or along the coast of California are strengthened by fire. They're actually strengthened by fire. And so, we get stronger from the harsh conditions of life. Like the limbs, branches, and leaves reach out to provide and support, comfort and support for others, and let them do the same for you. That's the tree reaching out with its shade and its comfort and its protection. And like tasting the fruit, acknowledge yourself, taste that nectar. Here's how you taste the nectar. Acknowledge yourself for acting in ways that contribute to yourself and others. A lot of us are givers, especially in circles like this one. But how often do we actually acknowledge ourselves? And just, like touch your own heart and thank yourself for being who you are. Thank you. It's not an ego trip. It's actually thanking Spirit or the divine or God by whatever name, Allah. It's actually thanking the divine that it gave you this form and this expression. Okay, and the next slide. And here's the key. Always remember to lighten up. Remember, Adam and Eve took themselves too seriously, and they were cut off from that Edenic state. Climb the tree of life and lift yourself up to a higher perspective. Remember, the tree of life is within you. So to climb the tree means to raise your awareness of yourself and of life. And it means to conquer your own limited thinking and to lighten up on yourself and those around you. Now, if you're like me, when I watch the news and the things going on in the world, some of those stories are very heartwarming, very hopeful, but many of them are very disturbing to the sensitive soul. Let's just say that. And we can take that. It is good to empathize and to have the compassion, but to take it on so heavily and so that it just kind of throws off our whole day and upsets us, throughout the day. It doesn't help ourselves or anyone. If we lift up to lighten up, then we might see a way where we can contribute to what's happening, perhaps to a food program or to, in Ukraine, or perhaps to prayers for peace in Gaza and Israel. Perhaps we can find active ways to contribute to what's happening that makes a difference in our world. And if all we do is help people feel better about themselves in our immediate and daily environment, then we have contributed to the whole world, because the people that we touch other people, and they touch other people, and they touch other people, until the whole world feels that we have been uplifted. So we're now going to do a brief meditation, and we're going to close it with some music. And I selected a piece by the Mormon Tabernacle Choir that we'll be playing shortly, because it was so beautifully written and done. Well, they do everything beautifully, but I really, it really touched me, this piece, the way it was written and performed. And I was looking for music about the tree of life. And when I saw this one, I thought, wow, that says it right there. So we'll be listening to that shortly, but right now we're going to take a deep breath. And we're going to close our eyes, and we are going to become that tree of life. And I invite you, if you are not doing so, to put your feet at ground level, both feet at ground level. And to focus your energy now on your feet and extend that energy into the earth. Root yourself in Mother Earth right now. As you extend your life energy down into this wonderful, nurturing environment, planet and environment. It doesn't matter where you are. I'm on the second floor of my house, and I can still feel the energy going down into the earth. And now, in kind, let Mother Earth give her energy back to you. Feel that energy coming up through your feet. And into your legs. That energy of pure life. Let it touch every part of tension or discomfort and bring it to a place of ease. Let it move through the joints of your knees, through your thighs, your hips, your lower abdomen, where you have both the regenerating organs and the releasing organs. Just let it move in there and feel its energy. Let it move up the trunk of your being, through the intestines and the digestive organs, bringing them into a place of harmonic functioning, doing their job perfectly. Let it move into your solar plexus. Your solar plexus, the center of your physical being. And also know that this center of your physical being is close to the center of your spiritual being, and let that energy move into your heart space, filling it with light. And see that light radiating out into every part of you from the heart. Feel this energy as it moves up through your chest, freeing up your breath, and over your shoulders, and out your arms and fingertips. And if you feel led to do so, you may, I'm naturally extending my arms as I say this. You may want to extend your arms, sending that energy out into your world like the shade of the great oak tree. And let that energy now move up as you relax your arms and your shoulders. Let it move up through your throat. It's what we call the power center in unity, because it's where our words come from, where the vibration of our words comes from. Let it fill your throat so that the words you speak are words of divine love. Let it move into your mind, into the center of your brain, to the front of your forehead, opening up your third eye, giving you a spiritual vision of your world, a vision of what is possible, of peace and love and compassion. And now let it move into your mind, your brain, and see your mind filled with light and wisdom and the perfect guidance to bring spiritual truth into worldly reality. And now let that light move up through the crown of your head and extend out to the universe. You are the tree of life. You are where the heaven meets the earth. You are where the divine and the human come together as one. You are the tree of life. And you can say with me, I am the tree of life. Say that gently to yourself. I am the tree of life. I am life. Say that to yourself. I am life. I am. Say that to yourself. I am. And for a moment of silence that will close with the song, let's tell ourselves, I am. And as we come out of this time meditatively, let the song lead us out. And Kyle, you can start the music now. and open your eyes and let the beautiful images fill your mind.
Thank you, Laura. Wow. Wonderful.
Isn't it YouTube wonderful? You can have the whole Mormon Tabernacle choir sing for you.
And the orchestra.
And the orchestra. Yes.
Pretty amazing. Yeah.
Mm.
I never thought of myself being the tree of life. It was always an external thing for me. It will not be anymore. Thank you for that. That's really wonderful.